Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell, and tonight we finally get to our top 10 list of 2023.
Absolutely.
So that'll probably be the majority of the show. I think we're going to talk a little bit of news before we get to that. And then I think we're going to go just a rundown of what we've watched since our hiatus of 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely.
I watched quite a few things.
Me
I don't know
as
about
well.
you. So whichever one of us wants to start, I think we can do that.
All right. So first and foremost, the biggest thing that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you in the comment. I am not going to wear this the whole show because of the temperature in my house right now, but I did get this beautiful Ken beach shirt, for Christmas, and I wanted to wear it in honor of our list. But I couldn't find what's it called? I couldn't find a solid colored undershirt to wear with it, so I didn't want to wear like a graphic T-shirt under it, so I just didn't. But you want me to go first in what we've been watching?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So everything since the 19th. Okay, so I feel like I watched a lot, but not as much as I maybe thought I was going to.
19. Damn. Yeah.
Well, just because we took 2 weeks off, so like technically it was the weeks on either side as well.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. May, December, Uncut Gems, Leave the World Behind, Family Switch, Ed Helms, Jennifer Garner comedy body swap movie on Netflix. Pretty good, actually. Pretty good. Maestro, The Holdovers, again, Ferrari, Good Time. I had never seen Good Time,
Oh, yeah.
so I checked that out. That was very, very good. And then a rewatch of The Impossible, the J.A. Bayona movie, the one with Ewan McGregor, Naomi Watts, and Tom Holland as like a little baby boy. That's the tsunami hits the hotel. Very, very good. I watched it because I was gonna watch Society of the Snow, because that's J.A. Bayona's newest movie, and then I just ended up watching The Impossible instead. But I'm gonna circle back to the other one. Then I watched Poor Things. Then just yesterday I watched The Iron Claw, and then I capped out the day with The Devil Wears Prada. But
Nice.
I will say, amongst that, and really just the last couple of days, I have started and I have one episode left on the most recent and the final season of The Crown. And I just want to talk real quick. I think I saw it in Dan Murrell's video because Elizabeth Debicki just yesterday or 2 days ago just won the Golden Globe for her performance as Diana. And I was doing a Golden Globes ballot with a friend from work, and I was really torn because I was like, she's so good, but I don't want recency bias, aka I'm literally watching the show right now. Like the day of the Globes is when I was watching The Crown.
Yeah.
So I didn't want my recency bias to cloud myself. So I thought they were going to give it to Meryl Streep for Only Murders. I was wrong. They did give it to Elizabeth Debicki, and rightfully so. I think that she is fantastic. I know that people have been a little down on The Crown, I think, in the later seasons, but I really think that it's still just as good when it is great. It is phenomenal. But I will say, I think, ironically, a lot of this season is spent with the early parts of the season are spent exclusively with Diana, and then some later episodes are spent almost exclusively with William. And not that I don't like either of those characters, and obviously there's only like 2 episodes left of the show, so you got to start spending time with William and Harry and all that stuff. But I do miss that core of Elizabeth and Philip, and then for most of the show, and Charles. I do feel like I wish that there was a lot more Elizabeth, Philip, and Charles in this season. That being said, I still do have the finale to get to. It's like an hour and a half. So I'm sure there's plenty of huge moments for everyone in the show.
This is the end?
This is the very end, yeah. Although, obviously, I would not doubt 10 years from now, 15 years from now, them saying, well, we're bringing everybody, or like that, we're going to bring a new cast and we're going to cover the Queen's death and the early parts of King Charles's reign. You know, or maybe they'll even say, "Hey, we're gonna get another actress to play the Queen," because at this rate, the show ends when she's about 80. So as we know, there's about almost 20 more years to cover. So maybe they even just say, "Hey, we're just gonna pick up right where the show left off last time." But yeah, so this is the last season of The Crown. But if Netflix survives on a long enough timeline, there's no way you don't bring the show back. It's because it's like, I don't know, it's like historical fiction of, it's so current that it's just like once there's new material, I think you could get more out of the show. And I love this show. It just really, really good. And I blew through the movies because, we'll probably talk about some later, but I really wanted to stress The Crown has just been, I think it's really closing very, very strongly. And I think it's going to sit on Netflix as one of their best prestige shows that they've ever done. And there was a whole article that Netflix put out today called "The Crown by the Numbers." It's the most, people say, "Oh, nothing's shot real anymore." They said the numbers. There's, over the course of the show, there was 50,000 extras, 782 full size sets. Like, just the absolute enormity of this show that they did is very, very wild. But yeah, that's like the main thing that I want to talk about. And I literally just binged it just in the last couple days. But that's probably the best non-list related thing that I've seen. But what about you?
Yeah, so just I did watch one television show, and that is Jury Duty. So I checked out Jury Duty finally. Blew through all 8 episodes.
Yeah.
They're only 27 minutes probably a piece. Really funny.
Yeah, Jury Duty was great.
I don't really know. I didn't really expect much going in. But the way that they were able to kind of do all that, keep it a secret from the one guy, and the outcome I thought was amazing. I kept thinking though, like after it was over, I was like, I don't know. Granted, not every single person in the world watches this show, but like, how do you do like another one of these?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I think people
get
are
obviously
stupider than we
like
give them credit for.
right. I get like it's like obviously it's you don't know you're getting called into jury duty, and again all this crazy stuff is happening, and in your head you're like, well, maybe this is just how it goes. But I feel like now people will probably be like, if that were to happen again, they'd be like, I don't know if this is real. But yeah, really funny, great show. James Marsden was awesome, as was the rest of the cast. But yeah, all around great show.
Do you think James Marsden a Golden Globe worthy performance?
Yeah, I get what was the category?
It was just actor in a supporting role comedy series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I just
He
thought
didn't win, right?
No, he didn't. Yeah, no. He lost to, checks notes, Jeremy Allen White. So a little bit of a different performance, but no, but yeah, I thought he was great. And I love that whole concept of that show. They kept Impractical Jokers going for 12 years on the same island in New York.
That's true.
And so it's like, I think it's that law of large numbers that, like in Men in Black, they said like a person can be smart, but people are dumb. Like I think if you just get the right guy or the right girl, the right whoever.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I'm overestimating people's.
Especially if you can expand it to just anywhere in the country. That's what I would love, is a jury duty in each city. Like, give me.
It was just in like California.
It was just in Los Angeles. Give me jury duty in Nashville. Yeah. You know what I mean? Do it. Yeah, it's gonna be more expensive because you
even
have to
like
fly
you see
out,
like they do the oh my god, why is the name blanking?
I don't know.
I can't think of it. Hold, I will. Sacha Baron Cohen. And
Borat.
Borat. Yeah, like he does that stuff. And
and people still don't know. He spent the whole pandemic in a cabin with somebody, like, and they had no idea. Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, what else?
So movies.
Right.
So that was the only show I watched
right,
that time. I don't know if did you finish other show? Did you finish What If or no?
Oh, I did not. I only watched the first episode. Yeah. So actually, think about this. If we're saying on a technicality, by the time this show ends, and not the time it takes to watch it, in the
Mhm.
2 weeks that we have been off, we have missed entirely 2 entire Marvel Studios TV shows. Because by the time this show is done, all of Echo will be out.
Oh yeah.
So if that's not telling you that Marvel maybe has too much coming out right now, the fact that in the 2 weeks we took off, there have been 2 entire Marvel shows, that
Yeah.
might tell you something.
I'll be honest, just real quick
But
on
no,
what
I
if
didn't.
I might skip it. Not gonna lie,
Damn.
I'm just not. I don't know. I don't feel the need to watch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't
like
know. The
people
first
have,
one was good, but I was like, this is
and
cool.
people that were really hyping up the second season as being very, very good and way better than the first season, and like the story was cool and stuff. And I saw that they did like really cool stuff with Hela. That like Hela is kind of the Doctor Strange Supreme character from the first season. That like Hela gets a little bit of a mini arc, and it's Kate Blanchett playing her. That sounds very cool. I've seen pictures, and yet it's been 2 weeks and I haven't watched it.
Yeah. If there's an episode I need to watch, then I will. But
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that beep?
The car? It was a car here, I think.
No, that was my computer.
Oh, I think it happened at the
I don't
same
know what
time.
Oh, okay. So movies after the 19th. So, watched Aquaman, not the newest one, the first one. Not great. Didn't really expect much, so that was not great to watch, but I feel like I should watch it before I eventually watch the second one, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't know in my head if I planned that we were going to do some sort of review or something. I was going to go see it.
I
Obviously, we
haven't
didn't
watched
do
it
that.
yet.
So you haven't seen it either. Watched Malcolm X, fantastic movie. Never seen it before. Doesn't really feel, too long. Denzel gives an amazing performance. Great movie. Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Oh yeah.
And Rudolph and Island of Misfit Toys, 2 Christmas classics for me, especially Rudolph. I have a lot of nostalgia rooted in that movie. As far as animation goes, I'm going to say does not hold up. Does not look great.
That's the one you were saying is like the part CG stuff, like early CG.
It's like 3D.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
3D.
all.
Yeah.
Does not look great. And then next, I watched Old Boy. Finally,
Nice.
crazy movie. Crazy. Did not see that twist coming.
You didn't
I mean,
know?
well, no, I
Oh.
did figure it out when we got to
But I mean,
like,
you didn't know before you watched it.
No, I didn't know. No. I had
Oh,
no idea.
wow.
And we get to like the kind of where they're confronting each other at the sort of kind of end almost. I don't know how many minutes are left. And he's like looking, he like picks up the book. I go, oh, it's his daughter. I was like, oh shit. It was crazy. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But other than that, like just fantastically acted and that fight choreography in the hallway, all that stuff was amazing. I'll Be Home for Christmas. First time I've seen that. Pretty good. Not gonna lie, I had a good time
What
with
is
it.
that one?
It's on Disney Plus, starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Jessica Biel. Basically, it's like this kid is in a boarding school and he wasn't gonna go home for Christmas, but then his dad's like, "Hey, if you get home for Christmas, if you come home by this certain day, you can have the Porsche or whatever." And so trying to get home, but everything there's keep getting roadblocks. And the moral of the story is, at the end when he gets home, he goes, "You know what? I don't need the Porsche. I'm just happy to be home with my family." Because he wasn't gonna come home originally.
What a freaking
Yeah.
dweeb. Some
pretty
kids
good.
get left at school over Christmas. All right.
Next, Little Women, Greta Gerwig.
I
Regular
meant to
Christmas
watch it.
viewing.
I meant to watch it this week.
Then I watched Maestro, The Iron Claw, Ferrari, Joyride, which I wanted to check out. Hadn't watched it yet. It was
Oh,
one
shit!
that Danielle and I had planned on watching. We never got to it.
Oh my god, I'm so happy you watched that. Did you like that?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
You said you took it out of the library?
Yeah.
Which location?
My location.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say.
I also have a bone to pick with the library too. I'll tell you that in one quick second.
Wow.
Then I watched Saltburn, and then then I watched Past Lives, Leave the World Behind, May December, Holdovers, Naiad,
This guy was going on
The
a tear.
Killer, Society of the Snow,
Damn.
Poor Things, Godzilla -1.
Man, can I ask how many days did you have off?
I didn't. I was gonna say I didn't necessarily have off. I will just say I had a lot of free time.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's all we'll say.
I am so mad. I was working so much more
Mhm.
than I wanted to be. I was like there's so many on that list that I just did not get to.
Right. Real quick bone to pick. So
Yeah.
after Godzilla, which I watched Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, I got maybe 3 more that I want to see. That I unfortunately didn't get to, but 2 of them, so 2, I took out on hold because they weren't at my location, but they were in the Williamsville location, which was like, it's not that far. It's like 10 minutes probably from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I put them on hold because they were there. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, if I put them on hold, they are going to, in theory, take the ones they have, put them on hold, put my name on them, and put them on the shelf, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put them on hold there for pickup at that location, right? And that was Blackberry and Talk to Me. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go pick them up, right? So I freaking pull up on Friday night at like 6, fucking closed. I
Wow.
look at the hours. I'm like, okay, because the one I go to is open till like 9 or
Mhm.
whatever. Look at the hours. Closed Saturday, closed Sunday, open 1 to 5 on Monday. I was like, what kind of freaking hours are those? And like I'm like looking, and like Wednesday, I think they were open like 2 to 7 or some like ridiculous time. Like it's just the most random times. Meanwhile, like the one, like I said, the one I go to regularly is open like, I think they open at like 10 or something. They're open till 9, like Monday through Saturday, and they close at 5 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't get to Blackberry, unfortunately, because I couldn't get it, and I wasn't gonna rent it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get Talk to Me, but I didn't get to it, unfortunately. And there was one other movie that I didn't get.
So many more than me.
I know. But yeah, that's what I had watched. I was just so behind, and I watched anything that I thought might possibly
hit it.
be on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
See,
why
for me, I think what I did was, I think a long time ago, and by a long time ago, I mean like last time we had a show, I resigned myself to the fact that all of those movies just weren't going to happen. So for me, I made like my absolute priorities: Iron Claw and Poor Things and Maestro and like a couple of I like whittled it down quite a bit. And I very stupidly, I don't even know why, I didn't even think about the library. I was like, oh, a lot of these movies are way too new to even be there.
no.
Which obviously is not true. I don't even know why I thought that, but like, if I had remembered to use the library, I probably could have gotten a couple in there, particularly Past Lives, which I still have not seen, which really sucks. I also still haven't seen Anatomy of a Fall, or Society of the Snow.
That was my other one. That's the third one that I was going to rent today, and I didn't have time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally fair. But yeah, I mean, this is again, we always want to make sure that we basically have enough. Not enough. We have 90. We're talking about 95% of the movies that we want to watch from the year are watched when we make our list. But then it's like, then we kind of give ourselves until Oscar. I think as long as I can get these done by Oscars Sunday, then I'm like, all right, the year is now fully wrapped. The year of 2023, I now fully can move on to 2024. Although it is going to be weird this year because the Oscars are so much later than they normally are. I mean, the Oscars are normally the end of January, beginning of February, and they're the beginning of March. So, but yeah, is that everything that you've watched?
Yes, and then I finally finished Tears of the Kingdom the other night. So now I can finally finish Jedi Survivor.
Did you finish Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, but I still haven't
Oh,
gone
okay.
back yet because they haven't released
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right,
new
right.
game
I just
plus or
meant
whatever.
like you finished the story, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
finished it.
yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
can't remember.
But no, like
Um,
Jedi Survivor, I have no idea what happens still.
where are you? Where were you?
I had just beaten what is that? I don't know what that is.
Sounds like a device
Uh
ping. Like
it
a
is,
yeah.
but I don't know what device it is.
Mhm.
um I just beat what's his name? The guy that's like he's with you the whole time, and it's like, oh,
Oh, okay.
that
All
guy.
right. Yeah.
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 I don't know what happens after that. I'm almost
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
though, you
Yeah.
said I think.
Yeah. You're like you probably have like 1/5 of the game left. I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're like 4/5 of the way. Very good game, and you got a lot of good stuff left in it. All right, let's move on here. The first thing I want to do is it's not something that I've been watching, but it is a life change that I have made, and that is this Circle water bottle.
Okay.
This show is brought to you by no, it's not brought to us, but if you want to sponsor us, you can. So this is to replace like my Panera drinks that I get all the time and everything like that, and I'm trying
Mhm.
to cut down on pop. But the
What's
main
your
thing I want to
resolution?
talk about, it is my resolution, is to my
Okay.
two resolutions are to drink less pop and be on my phone less. Because
Nice.
I always go to myself, oh, I'm just checking the time or whatever. And so the one thing I was really proud of, and it was, believe me, it was really hard. And I can't even believe I'm about to admit this on a
Okay.
podcast that's going out on the internet. Um, Iron Claw was the first movie in a long time in the theaters that I did not look at my phone screen once. And I don't
Wow.
mean that in a like I'm a guy who's like full brightness, texting whatever, but I know some people are going to see that it's just as bad, but I do in almost every movie I find myself just turning it over and checking the time, and
Yeah.
then if there's a notification there that I like need to respond to, I'll respond to it, and I get caught in that trap. So I texted everybody I needed to text, and I said, "My phone is going away. Do not contact me. I will be unreachable." And I did it. And I was like, wow, that is a big thing. So it's the no phone, and it's trying to drink more water, which then I was watching this YouTuber I watched that does like product reviews, and I got to his video on this, and I was like, man, I actually really want to do that. And this is obviously in no way sponsored or anything. I've been doing it. I've drank so many of these full bottles of water
Hmm.
in the last like week. I can't even begin to
Good.
describe it, but it is
That's
so
good.
good. And the top comes out and it changes the flavor. It's like a Mio
Mm,
thing in here, and it's all 0 calories and zero sugar. That's like kind of the whole thing of the
that's kind
thing
of
is
cool.
that yeah, this one's blue raspberry, so it's just regular water. There's no flavor in
Hmm.
it, but when it goes through this filter, it tastes like blue raspberry, um, which is great. And then oh yeah, that was the other thing. I was like, what was the other thing about this? This ice in here, my number one birthday or Christmas present. My roommate got me an ice maker, so we now have like an electric ice maker for
Hmm.
our like alcohol cabinet slash just having ice in the house. It has been great. But yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to hit before I forgot because I wanted to talk about the water bottle. Okay, White Lotus news. We're gonna do a little bit of news here before we get into the list. The White Lotus has added, I think, like 6 or 7 cast members so far. Woody Harrelson is rumored, but the person I want to shout out on here is Jason Isaacs, who played Captain Orca or Captain Lorca of on the USS Discovery on Star Trek Discovery, and more importantly, Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies. But his normal look is this like clean cut black hair, and I just think that Jason Isaacs is like the most White Lotus actor that has not been on White Lotus so
Uh-huh.
far. And out of everybody that they've announced so far, he is by far the one that I'm the most excited for is Jason Isaacs being on there. Because I just think he fits that world so well of like I could see him being, the hotel manager with his
Yeah.
British, like just being very over everyone. So
Can you
I'm
just
very excited.
can you just give me like a summary of what the show is?
Of what it's about or like why you should watch it or like
Uh
I
I
mean
guess what it's
what it's
I don't
about is
I don't
just it's like every season you follow like it's usually about like 10 to 12 people I would say, and they're the second season was a lot more couples. The first season was like 2 or 3 families and then two
Mhm.
or three individuals. um and then you're also following definitely the hotel manager, usually their assistants, and then random other hotel,
Mhm.
people throughout it. So that's basically the premise. In every season, it's a different White Lotus resort, and it's like a semi anthology. It's like it's all a
Oh, okay.
connected universe, and it all
Mhm.
takes place in chronological order. Like it is one concurrent story, but every season all the characters change. So it's kind of this. It's kind of like a hybrid anthology show, which is why at the Emmys it actually was forced to move from limited or anthology to a regular
Mhm.
series because they've decided to move it in this direction where it is anthology, but the events will always be referenced from season to season. Characters could come back and have come back from earlier seasons, and it's basically just that, and it does it very well, and it's just very it does the Triangle of Sadness Parasite thing a lot closer to Parasite than Triangle of Sadness, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No.
It handles the whole like eat the rich thing very
Yeah.
well,
God.
and that's kind of like a core theme of the show. But really, it's just like watching these characters in these crazy situations, and sometimes they're super dramatic situations. Sometimes some of the characters are more like funny situations, but it's always different, and like it's had people like obviously I don't even remember her name. What is her name?
Sydney Sweeney?
Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh.
And Jennifer Coolidge, and then like people like Steve Zahn were in the first season, Aubrey Plaza in the second season. So a lot of these people are big, and then obviously kind of the biggest name they've announced is probably Woody Harrelson. Looks like he's going to be like the main character. But also Carrie Coon has gotten a lot of excitement over her casting. Tom Cruise moving to Warner Brothers from Paramount, although he still has the right to make movies with other studios. But he is moving house to Warner Brothers. Does this signal the true end of the Mission Impossible movies, or is this just he's going to keep making those with Paramount, or is he trying to abandon ship from Paramount? I mean, we heard that they're maybe selling. Is he getting nervous? I don't
You
know.
say making those with Paramount. I thought he was done making those.
Well, I think the original thing was yeah, these are the last ones, but I don't really know if that's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, you can't come back from. Well, I guess they changed the name
Yeah, that's
technically.
what I mean. Like, I feel like they're kind of going back already on it.
Yeah, I felt like Dead Reckoning Part Two felt way more final than maybe whatever the new
Yeah,
name will be.
Mission
Um,
Impossible: A New Dawn.
right, but maybe he will like if he is done making Mission Impossible movies, maybe he will like do some like consulting or whatever
Hmm.
on those on whatever they want to do next. I don't know um, what the plans are obviously for the franchise, but um, or maybe he thinks about reviving some old something from Warner Brothers that they haven't done in a while, like akin to a Mission
39
Impossible.
steps. 40 steps.
40 steps, sure. Um, but yeah, no, I don't think, like you said, didn't you just say like he's still free to, make other movies with
Yeah,
different studios and stuff like that?
yeah,
Yeah, so nah.
yeah. All right, interesting. We'll see, I guess, where that goes. Caitlin Deaver has officially been cast as Abby in The Last of Us season 2. Thoughts?
Great casting. This was rumored like a month or two ago, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Um, but nice to see it's finally official. She's gonna get jacked. Maybe not jacked, but she's definitely obviously gonna put on some muscle mass for the role, and very excited to see her in the next season.
Absolutely. All right. The biggest one here, and man, I just don't. I don't even know. The Mandalorian and Grogu are headed to the big screen. Directed by Jon Favreau, produced by Favreau, Filoni, and Kennedy. The Mandalorian and Grogu will go into production later this year. This is the way. Thoughts
This is
on Mandalorian season 4 becoming a feature film?
um, I am interested, cautious. Um, Now, remind me, what was the original idea? Was it season four, then the movie, or did they change season four into a movie?
They changed season 4 into a movie.
Okay.
So the Filoni movie is still happening. So this is going to be a
Oh, so
John.
this is different.
Yeah, this is a
I
John
thought this
Favreau
was
movie. No, no, no,
okay.
no.
Got
This is a
it. Got
John
it.
Favreau movie. So this
Mm,
is there will be no Mandalorian season 4.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, trying to think where we left off now in season 3.
We left off with
'Cause-
them being like, "Oh, you got to go on adventures every week."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they tried to, strip. Maybe they went the movie route because they maybe wanted to stay away from that.
Mhm.
I don't know. Again, like season 3 was kind of, it was okay. It was fine. It was pretty good. I will figure out what that is. But I will say I'm trepidatious, I guess, to say the least. And you said it'll start filming this year, right?
This year,
Or that's what
yeah.
they said. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe is it gonna come out next year? I guess.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, they
To
said
fill-
yeah,
to
20
fill
sorry,
the-
yeah. 2025
'cause the next-
they said.
Right, the next Star Wars movie technically is supposed to come out 2026, I believe.
Yeah, so this is in addition to all the movies pre-announced. This is just a full-on we're sliding this into a movie beforehand. Which I will point out is exactly what Jeff Snyder said on the hot mic about a month and a half ago. Which whatever he did say at the time, though, it was not a full-on report or anything. It was like one of his like rumor mill story things.
Yeah.
But it was exactly how he said. It was like the 3 movies are not changing, but he was like, I am hearing that they want to go bigger with the Mandalorian season 4. And to just make it a movie that would basically slide in front of all the other ones. So I think if they can pull it off, this is great. Although honestly, it's just anything. I show me the great stuff. I'm ready to see the great stuff. If we're Marvel, I'm way more lenient on because they just this year, well, just last year, was when the movies were like, okay, something is broken, and
Yeah.
also last year when they realized something was broken, they went, hey, we're going to fix it. So Marvel, I give time. I'm like, all right, you got to fix some stuff, sort some stuff out. Give us just Deadpool this year. And then, totally fine with that. But Star Wars, if this movie comes out in 2025, that'll be their first movie in 6 years, almost 7 years.
Yeah.
Let's get this ball rolling. I'm itching to get this ball rolling. If we're gonna keep doing Star Wars movies, give me some freaking Star Wars movies to watch. that's kind of where I'm at. But that being said, I'm excited to have Favreau directing a feature film again. That hasn't happened in a while. Last question I want to get from you on this: is this going to just feel like an episode of The Mandalorian exploded out, or is this going to feel like a regular cinematic? The look, the might I say, probably best franchise looking movies, maybe other than Mission Impossible. Those Star Wars movies look beautiful. Are we going to get a movie with that much care and attention vibe? Or is this just going to feel like the volume, but on the big screen?
No, I don't think so. I think you'd probably have to put a decent amount of money into this, considering you're putting it in theaters. If it was coming straight to Disney Plus, I'd say, okay, maybe you can volume it a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe cut some corners on production wise. But no, I think if you're making a movie and you're putting it in theaters with expectations that you're going to market it in the same way, like it's a Star Wars movie that people are going to come see,
Yeah.
you're going to want it to look good. So that's what I would hope for, at least. Now,
Do
when
we
we
think
see
Grogu will talk?
I don't think so. I think that's done. So, where do you think? I guess real quick, because we'll still have another movie technically.
Yep.
So, where do you go in this instead of again a 8-episode?
You know what I could see this being, and this is just to say, if they want to go this way.
Yeah.
I think if you call the movie The Mandalorian and Grogu, which I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the best thing to call it. If you're not just going to call it The Mandalorian, and just call the movie The Mandalorian. If you're going to call it The Mandalorian and Grogu, maybe there's something better. You can maybe work on that. That's a little more Star Warsy. But I digress. The Book of Din. I don't know. if you are going to do that, I think this would be a great movie to maybe get rid of Din in. And
Star
be
Wars Mando story.
yeah, maybe not that, but whatever it might be. But I think this could be a good movie to have Bo-Katan as maybe your big person, and then to take the wrestling term, maybe this movie is to put over Bo-Katan with major audiences, so that Bo-Katan can be okay. A lot of people watched Ahsoka. Dan Murrell just did a great streaming year-end update. Ahsoka did very well. So did Loki season 2. I know both of those shows were reported that maybe they didn't do so great. They did perfectly fine in comparison to the other things in their franchise. A lot of people watched Ahsoka, but when we move Ahsoka to Filoni's movie, they maybe need someone else with a face who will be recognizable and hopefully liked. So Bo-Katan's just the character that I'm thinking of, but it could be Bo-Katan, it could be Boba Fett, it could be anyone. I think that this is a good movie to have Din maybe sacrifice himself, maybe he just gets written out in some other way, but I think it's a good movie to have Din put someone over in the sense of it being kind of a launch pad for Filoni's movie, I guess. While also being hopefully a very satisfying Din and Grogu movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think Jon Favreau will make it satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end of Grogu?
No. I don't think they're ever going to kill off Grogu. Ever. I think that you will see 15 years from now, I think in publishing, they are going to... what's it called? I think in publishing 15 years from now, they're going to launch a new era that's called the New Jedi Order, and it's about a 400-year-old Grogu. I think they're going to keep that guy around as long as they can. They're going to get him talking. There's going to be adult Grogu movies 25 years from now, 100%. Din, on the other hand, I think it's probably likely that he dies. That's what I think. All right. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
All right,
I feel like I had like a question for you, but I cannot remember.
Well, I just want to hit chat too real quick because we have had a couple. Yeah. Michelle said, I don't think it was smart to dump both What If and Echo so close together.
Yeah. I keep seeing mixed things. I feel like I see a few people say it starts off okay.
Yeah.
And
or like I'm enjoying it so far.
Or it's like, oh wow, it's really good so far. So I don't really know what to believe on this.
We'll know the truth in, I was gonna say 18 minutes, but that's when it starts. So we'll know the truth by tomorrow, or at least the Twitter version of the truth.
Yeah,
I guess. I just hope people don't hate on it just to hate on it. I'm gonna, honestly, I don't know. If I'm stupid, I work in the morning. If I'm stupid, I might watch the whole thing tonight because it's 5 episodes. It's only like 3.5 hours, so it's basically just a super long movie. So maybe I'll do that, but I think we'll know probably big consensus on it by tomorrow. Brandon in the chat saying favorite film Iron Claw, but asterisk saying that he did miss Oppenheimer earlier in the year. Michelle said, if this is going to be the end of The Mandalorian, then it should be a film. It needs to look like a big budget film, not just another episode. 100%. I think 100%. All right, guys. Let us get to it. Our big time video here. We are going to be breaking down our top 10 lists, our top 10 films that were released in 2023. We're going to cover some honorable mentions, of course, go through the lists, kind of hitting it back and forth, going one for one on each other's list. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I just want to have a quick talk on, you listed a bunch of the movies that you watched earlier, and I will say there's about 7 of what, let's just go safe and say 5. I think there's about 5 of those movies that if I watched would probably be honorable mentions, and that would probably put my honorable mentions at, well, not my, all right, including the 10 on the list, that would put my whole thing at probably about 25 movies.
Wow.
I have to say, this year
It's a good
has
year.
been a great year for movies.
Mhm.
I've been looking at my letterbox a lot. I know we both. I got my letterbox wrapped last week. Did you get yours?
I did.
Yeah. I know we both got that, and so I've been looking at my previous years and our previous years lists, and last year was insanely good, and then 2021 was. Oh, 2021 actually was not very good. Yeah, 2021 was not very good. 2020 was not very good
Mhm.
at all. But then 2019 was incredible. And so I think if you take out 2020 and 2021, uh, those last couple of years, not including the pandemic years, have been insane years for movies. And I think maybe this has been my favorite crop of the bunch because, like I said, right now as it stands, I do have 9 honorable mentions, which is insane. But
Mhm.
I love so many of the movies that came out this year. It's kind of crazy. But how have you
Right.
kind of felt of the year overall, in terms of the output and how you felt about it?
Um, yeah, I'm with you. Going through all these movies in the past few days, I haven't found much that I really didn't like all that much, honestly. And I'm obviously there's a lot I missed, like Talk to Me and Blackberry, which I do plan on watching at some point.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, overall, I don't think I realized at first how good of a year it was. And there's definitely some movies that I completely forgot even like. I know it wasn't that long ago, but Across the Spider Verse, I was like, oh yeah, that was this year.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like even like not Mission Impossible, like John Wick. And I was like, oh yeah, that that
yeah,
was like way earlier in the year, but
yeah.
it was
Way
this year.
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I agree. We're still a really, really solid year for movies.
100%. Now, how do we want to do this? Because let's just jump right in here.
Real quick,
What-
I'm tweaking my list real quick, honestly.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on these three
I got to say
because
this. I
I'm
feel like
just
I have
thinking.
had a breakthrough while he is adjusting his list, which is totally fine. Um, and normally we do allow for kind of restructuring
Yeah.
of lists all the way through the episode. This one I don't think we'll have as much, especially if he's considering his last choices now. Uh, I personally feel, even when compared to our Christmas characters list,
Mhm.
I have put so much like thought into this and the placements of even the placements of all of the honorable mentions. This is maybe the most satisfied that I have been with a list, at least right now at this moment. Because, like I said, I have not seen Past Lives, I have not seen Society of the Snow, Anatomy of the Fall, Movie of the Movie, The Zone of Interest. I have not seen Thes and
That was
Ofs.
another one I was going to try and
Oh yeah,
watch
Zone
it
of Interest.
by certain means,
Yeah.
and it didn't happen.
Oh, by certain means. I got
Unfortunately.
you. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. But yeah, I am so satisfied with this list, and I really challenged myself with going. It's not the movies that you were just like, oh yeah. It's like it's the movies that were great, and you were
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, and I just really tried to like push myself to really not that I haven't thought about it a lot before, but I really love all these movies, and I don't know if that's just because I've really thought about this list for a long time over the last 2 weeks, or if it's just that the movies that came out this year are so dang good that it's like they just feel weighted higher. I don't know, but you want to kick off with some honorable mentions? How many honorable mentions do you have?
I just have 5.
Okay, well, let
I
me
have
do my bottom four, and then we'll go to the next
okay.
one because the my last two I put on here just because they are so damn good. But I will say they were always going to be honorable mentions. Actually three of them, but these two I'll group together. They were always going to be honorable mentions, just because I don't I don't know how I feel about putting documentaries on my top 10. Just because I don't think they were quite top 10 level, but that is my last two honorable mentions are still a Michael J. Fox movie, which came
Oh,
out way
yeah.
way earlier
Yeah.
in the year.
I'll add that
maybe
as an
even like
honorable mention.
February, I think.
Yeah.
And then much more recently, David Holmes, the boy who, or what is it? Let me see. I have the French title. Yeah, David Holmes, The Boy Who Lived. My letterbox poster was like the French version or
Oh,
something, so I couldn't
okay,
read it.
yeah.
But David Holmes, The Boy Who Lived, the Harry Potter documentary about Daniel
Mhm.
Radcliffe's stuntman, David Holmes. Incredible. Both of these documentaries, incredibly moving, uh, but more so than an incredibly moving story. I think they're just beautifully made documentaries. Not too overhashing and rehashing and being dramatic. For example, I was pretty pumped for this 3-part John Lennon documentary that they released on Apple last
Yeah.
month. I was pretty pumped to watch it, and it was very like saccharine and just like, uh, but then Yoko would never expect what would, and it was very like Dateliney, and
Mhm.
but it wasn't an episode of Dateline. It was an Apple TV Plus documentary, and I was really
Yeah.
hyped for it. Very let down by it. These two were incredible, absolutely incredible for me. Next two were on my list. So going forward now, they were had a real shot to be on the list, and that is what we talked about a little bit earlier: Joyride and Dream Scenario.
Mhm.
Those are my two more of
Yeah.
my honorable mentions. Is
That
Joyride
was
and
one,
Dream Scenario.
Dream Scenario was one that I had planned on, but I didn't get to it,
I think Dream
unfortunately.
Scenario. I loved watching it. I think it's great. I think that Nicolas Cage is fantastic in it. It is so let down by it's just nothing burger of an ending
Mhm.
that I couldn't let it make the list. And then Joyride is just there's just movies that are better, but man, that is the best comedy of the last year. The best like straight up comedy of this past year. I
Mhm.
put it up there with I guess I'm wrong. I guess I missed the boat on the fact that I guess the internet hates Tag. I really like the movie Tag. I put Tag up
Okay.
there. That's the one with like Ed Helms and Jeremy
Yeah.
Renner and stuff
That was,
and
like,
John Hamm.
years ago.
No, I know. I'm saying I put
Oh.
it right up there with like Tag
Oh,
and Game Night
yeah,
and
yeah.
the better of like the studio
Oh, I don't know
comedies
if I put
recently.
up there with Game Night. Game Night was really good.
Game Night was really good, but I would definitely put Joyride up there. I think out of those three, Tag is the worst movie out of those. I love Joyride. I watched it 3 times this past year, and it's probably gonna buy it at some
Mm.
point on Blu-ray. But what are some of your honorable mentions?
So, let me just, go back to my list real quick, um, as I was adding still, so I just added still to it.
Beautiful.
Um, sorry, hold on. Okay, so honorable mention. This is no particular order. Okay, so my first one is Dead Reckoning Part One, Mission Impossible.
That is a punt.
Really? So okay, well, I guess we won't talk about it then. Naiad I had on there, which I
Okay.
watched recently.
I was preaching about that
Um,
movie, and I never even watched it. I never
yeah,
got a chance.
really good movie. Great performances, obviously by Annette Bening and Jodie Foster. Reese Ifans also very good in the
Oh
movie.
shit! Nice.
Um, really liked it. I just like Annette Bening's character, Diana Nyad. She
So
is like
unlikable.
so selfish in the middle of it, and
Damn.
she has this kind of redemption, kind of a like a where it's not a me. It's an effort. It's a team effort. It's an us. Um, but like halfway through, I was like, I fucking hate her. Like right now, like
Yeah.
it's just like I just want to be like, it's not about you, okay?
Mhm.
Like I get it's your record, again, swimming from Cuba to Florida is like I
Insane.
can't even fathom doing that.
Yeah.
And she did it, but it's just like I just want to like be
Or did
like
she?
it's a team effort.
Yeah.
you know. No, she did. Um so that was on there. John Wick is on there, is an honorable mention. Um is that a punt for you?
Oh, that's a punt.
That's a punt. Okay. Air,
That's a punt.
that's a punt. And Society of the Snow.
I have not seen that.
Um really good survival movie. I would if I went through any of that, I would be dead in the first probably 2 hours.
Hmm. Have
Um,
you seen The
just
Impossible?
no.
So like 20 years later, he's picking a different natural catastrophe. I mean, it's like the
Yeah.
Impossible is about a tsunami. So this is
Right.
like
Okay.
Is it got that like raw, like very
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like
visceral?
yeah, I mean it's
Nice,
like
nice.
it's pretty I'm trying to think of like just like obviously the shit that they go through. They're stranded in the
Yeah,
Alps and it's
yeah.
freezing and they're doing they're trying to hold up in kind of like I think the plane kind of splits in half. So they're kind of holed up in the back half of it that they still have.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like stacking the suitcases on top of each other by the entrance to try to keep the heat in and then at one point not to again it's not really a spoiler but like an avalanche comes and knocks the suitcases back so then they have to dig themselves out because they're basically drowning in snow um and then the different decisions that they have to make to survive is harrowing. I can't even imagine. um but yeah, that's my number. Well, it's not really a number, but my last honorable mention.
Nice. I really want to see that one, and I
Yeah,
tried to.
really good.
That was one that I started. I watched like the first
Mhm.
minute, and then, like I said, I don't know if I think I don't even know. I just ended up watching The Impossible instead. I don't even know what happened. I was so
Mhm.
tired, but I did not regret that. I mean, J.A. Bayona is a really, really great filmmaker. Um, I don't know what happened with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but his other disaster movies are
Yeah,
incredible. Or so I've heard. Okay, this one might be a punt, and again, we're just on honorable mentions, but it's been a great year. Poor Things
that's fun.
as an honorable mention. Asteroid City for me.
Didn't see it. Didn't get a chance.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah,
TMNT Mutant Mayhem.
didn't get to it.
All right. Now here's you might be what?
Are you gonna say D&D?
That was this year.
That was this year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll throw that on as an honorable mention.
Okay.
Is that a punt?
I didn't see that either, but
Oh,
I
okay.
figured.
No, I
I
didn't even
figured
have
that
it on
movie.
there. I'll throw it on. I won't even throw it on the list as an honorable mention. Just that was a great movie.
Okay.
Mutant Mayhem, and then the next one, a little movie called Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That's a punt.
Fun.
That's punt.
Yeah.
And then this one kind of broke me, but if I'm
Mhm.
being honest with myself, my last honorable mention is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I'd probably put that as an honorable mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, man. That gutted me when that moved. That literally was one
Yeah,
that
I
like
mean,
moved off right at the last second.
yeah.
But yeah, that movie is just so good.
Just a
Easily the second best, maybe the best Marvel movie of the
perfect
year.
ending to maybe
Oh,
Marvel's
as a
best
trilogy
movie
capper for sure.
next to Captain America.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's easily the best trilogy. I mean, yeah, I think it's easily
I don't know about that.
in Marvel.
I would say Captain America's still better.
Okay, that's fair. I have not, to be fair, I have not watched that specific trilogy in a very long time. And this year I did watch a lot of Guardians, so
I think like, and I like Guardians too, and I know people say it's the worst one,
yeah.
but I don't. I think if it wasn't like Guardians 1, Guardian like with the majority too. If it wasn't like Guardians 1, Guardians 2, Guardians 3, Captain America's like Captain America, Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, Civil War.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
You
fair.
know?
That's fair. Yeah. All right. So honorable mentions out of the way. Random thoughts aside.
Mhm.
Let's get into this. So, to go over actually, do you want to explain how we do our list? I gotta.
Yeah,
some
so
water.
basically we stole this from the Top 10 show, which is a great podcast. It's still out there. They're not doing any episodes anymore, but you can still listen on podcast services. Basically, we're gonna list our bottom 5, and
No,
then
no.
after that, what?
3, then 2, then 1.
Okay, so our bottom 3, and then 2, and then we do 1 apiece.
Yeah, I always forget that too.
And then and then basically if it's further down on somebody's list, we say punt, and then we'll talk about it when we get it on the other person's list, if that made any sense that I just explained it.
Yeah, I think essentially it's
okay.
like the punting is you're honoring the conversation with the higher placement on somebody's
Right.
list.
Right.
That's how.
Okay, so who wants to start?
Let's have you go first. I had so many honorable
Okay.
mentions. Let's have you go first.
Okay, so my 10 is Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, all right. I thought that was gonna be much higher on your list. So go
Yeah.
for it.
Great movie, a great follow-up to a very, very good Into the Spider-Verse, first movie. Really excited to see where they go with the next one, obviously. Um was very interesting that they focused more on kind of Gwen as well as Miles, obviously.
Mhm.
Some obviously great cameos, great kind of tying the whole universe together, all that stuff. Um Probably the best. No, maybe not the best superhero movie this year. I'm trying to think. I
Would
don't
it
know
be
if I
better?
get. I don't know. I guess I would put it ahead of Guardians
Mm-hmm.
because I
What's
had
on your
Guardians
list?
in our
Yeah.
So yeah,
What
I
about
guess
Blue
I would
Beetle?
say best superhero movie this year. Not Blue Beetle.
Mm.
But I
Poor
will
Blue
say
Beetle.
again, I still think the first one's better. I know people love this one, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people think it's better, but I just can't go there. I don't know why.
I would say the further I've gotten away from it, the more
Yeah,
concretely I feel like the first one is better.
yeah.
And I think coming out of it, I had that initial like hype of oh man, I don't know. I mean, this one is like incredible. And this one
Mhm.
is incredible. I think it is really really good. Like I said, probably for me, it's probably the second best uh superhero movie of the year.
Mhm.
And yeah, right. Yeah, that tripped me up too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say it probably is the second best of the year for me. Um, but yeah, I just think it's really good. But like I said, I do come away further from it that the first one is better, and that's only because we're talking about the first one is like 110%, and this one's like 108%.
Mhm.
Like like we're still talking about Spider Verse movies here, which are very good. So what is your number 9?
My number 9 is a little movie that hit $1 billion, called Barbie.
That is a punt.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
That is a
figured.
punt. That is a punt.
Uh,
What is
and
your
then my
8?
8. My number 8 is a movie you haven't seen.
Past
Uh,
lives.
no, it's a little movie from a acclaimed director, The Killer.
That is a punt.
Oh,
That is a
I
punt.
didn't hear you. When did you watch it?
Earlier.
A while ago. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Sorry. Okay, gotcha. All right, all right.
yeah.
I didn't hear you say. Maybe you said it
I haven't
earlier.
mentioned the killer at all. Yeah,
Okay, so
at
that's
all.
why I
I
figured you
didn't
didn't
even
watch
say anything when you said that you watched it.
it. Okay, because I
Wow,
guess
that just I'll be
yeah, I
honest,
guess it's
that
been a
was the
while.
one that I was like I don't think he's going to have this.
Yeah.
That was the one that I was like I don't think he's going to have this. But wow, okay. Okay, so that is your 8. Right. My 10 is the punt from your honorable mention, which is the little Ben Affleck directed movie from earlier in the year, and that is Air.
Hmm.
I love this movie. I have literally only I tried to see a lot of this stuff twice, except for the stuff that I had recently seen. I only saw Air one time in theaters, and that was it. And this movie has stuck with me all year, and it's less to do with the performances, which are great. I mean, Viola Davis, Ben Affleck, and then Jason Bateman is really good too. But then obviously Matt Damon is just like crushing it in this. Great
Hmm.
year for Matt Damon. Two incredible roles. Either one in a lesser stacked year, he'd be worthy of getting nominated for either one. I think. But Air is just fantastic. I mean, I know it was one of your honorable mentions, but really, really good. It's maybe my favorite Ben Affleck directed movie.
Hmm.
Is that? I think that's fair to say. And just the vibe of it, like the '80s vibe, is just like it's a very, very like chill movie. And like I said, I've only seen it once, so I'm very excited to see it again. But sometimes you just, a movie sticks with you.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you. Really, really enjoyed it when I watched it. When did it come out again? Summer?
April,
April.
yeah, I
Yes.
think April, yeah,
It was a while ago.
yeah.
But yeah, really, really solid movie. Loved, there's just the story of. I feel like anything with sports related, Nike, Adidas, any of that kind of stuff, I'm very interested in.
Hmm.
I thought they did a really good job of kind of showing how Nike kind of became Nike just from
Yeah.
this big Jordan brand deal,
Mhm.
to the Nike today.
A shoe
Yeah.
is just a shoe until my son steps into it.
Hmm.
Incredible. Incredible, man. Oh, that whole movie is so good. All right, my number 9 is a movie that I don't know how much you liked because we never really talked about it. But it is from a little well-known filmmaker named Michael Mann, and that is my number 9 is Ferrari.
Not on the list.
Damn, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I went into this movie like arms folded, like what? All right, what are you gonna show me? Like, what is this House of Gucci 2 or whatever? And I'll tell you, man. By the time what happens in the third act, I was in. I was hooked. I was waiting on every line that Adam Driver would say. I think that him as Enzo Ferrari is like one of the most fun biopic
Hmm.
performances in a while. I think that he's like, yes, I'm going to honor this guy, but I think he's also just like having fun with the mannerisms and, saying stuff like just having little funny moments, like where he would be like, so he'd be like, oh, I broke my nose. He'd be like, I don't care. Or like, something like these little things like that. I just thought that Adam Driver was great in this. Um, and I felt it, man. I felt the death rattle in my
Yeah.
bones when some of those crashes happened when they were showing some of those racing scenes. And again, I just think anchored by an incredible performance. And I kind of went in going, legacy directors have let me down somewhat this year. What are you
Mhm.
gonna do for me? And I think that very happily, I think Michael Mann
Yeah.
crushed this.
I will say I liked it. I'm not gonna say I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably throw it on as an honorable mention. I just, after thinking about it, I'm like, is this something I would come back to and watch it again? And I just don't think I would,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. I will agree with you though. That kind of obviously the racing sequences are amazing, but that crash and the
Yeah.
devastation that I was like, and again, me and
All the
you,
crashes.
having no idea that was gonna
Yeah,
happen.
that was. Whew.
That was crazy. How'd you feel about the whole Shailene Woodley? I thought she was fine. I don't know.
I did not. That's
Didn't-
the one ding that I have against the movie.
okay.
I guess I'll say since I liked it so much overall, I say it's fine. But to me,
Mhm.
it was the one thing that every time she was on screen, I was like, all right, man, this is a
Yeah. I mean,
miscast.
sometimes I was like, with Adam Driver, I was like, what the fuck is he saying? I was
Yeah.
like, what did you just say? But
But
yeah,
that's
no, I
also
thought it
because
was.
they so casually speak Italian. They like every
Right,
other
right, right.
word. but like,
Yeah, yeah.
but Shailene Woodley to me, she did slip out of the accent
No,
all the
that I
time,
definitely
and it was
noticed
like,
that. Yes, I
ooh,
did notice
yeah.
that.
But again, I guess because I liked it so much overall, I guess I got it. I can't say anything harsher than I thought I was fine with it. Like
Mhm.
yeah. And then I was actually wrong earlier because it's not technically a punt, but my
Mm.
number 8 is the killer in the exact same slot on your
Wow, look
list.
at that.
Yeah. So yeah, my number 8 is also the killer. I was like, this is probably the one I got that he does not have.
Oh, yeah.
And then boom, there you go. That just goes how far we go sometimes in the not telling each other how we feel about movies until we're on the show. Is that neither of us even knew that the other one watched this. So,
Yeah.
I guess I'll go first, man. With
Yeah,
with
what'd you
my
think?
surround sound, I was losing my fucking
Oh,
mind
yeah.
watching this movie, man. I was losing my mind. I was like, Fassbender's back, Fincher's back. Let's like, oh my god! And I there are people out there hating on this movie. They're haters.
Mm.
They're haters, man. The sound design. I know people have said amazing things about the sound design in Society of the Snow. Amazing things about the sound design in both Anatomy of a Fall and Zone of Interest. To me, from what I've seen this year so far, this is probably the best sound design. Some of the other movies I have great sound design moments and stuff, and sound that sounds great, but just the sound mix and the sound design, it was so crazy. Again, this is all coming with the tinge of I have that surround now, but watching the camera shift perspective and hearing the music go from my surround speakers behind me back to the sound bar, back to the
Mhm.
the ones behind me, and hearing the scrape of the metal and stuff when he's assembling or disassembling weapons or anything like that. I just thought it was great, and I thought that Fassbender was just like when people have been saying for the last like 10 years Michael Fassbender needs a new agent. This is the
Mhm.
kind of movie that like Michael Fassbender should always be doing. He is
Mhm.
so good in this. I watched it twice
Oh wow.
in early December. Yeah. Um and it's a movie I'll probably go back to a bunch of times. I've rewatched the opening scene, just the opening up to when what happens. Probably like the first like 12 minutes. Um so good. You go. That's
Yeah,
like just
I'm
so
with
good.
you 100%. I thought the sound design, specifically the fight in that house,
Yes.
with kind of the big, I don't know what you call it. I think it's called him. He's called the Thug or something.
Yeah.
Was amazing. Um, the kind of, I guess, how cold he is as a character. Um, it was very interesting. Something that I forget what I was watching. I think I was watching Dan Rose review, and he said something about how he's getting the way he's kind of moving and getting into these places he's not supposed to be, and how easy it is for him.
Yeah.
And like he'll just go on Amazon. He's like, "Oh, let me just get this card reader,
I
card copy.
loved
I'll
all
just
that stuff.
copy
Yeah.
the card." I was like, "Oh my god, this is scary.
Feels
Like,
too real.
too
Oh
scary,
man,
easy."
dude,
Um,
screw Echo, man. I might be watching The Killer right after this. Oh my god.
that was all great. I thought Tilda Swinton, when she showed up for
Yes.
that kind of
Yeah,
conversation they
all
had.
the pop in and pop outs and
Yeah.
different
And his
dialogues.
kind of his face, just when they're having that conversation, like you can really kind of understand what he's thinking,
Yeah.
and he's not even saying anything. Was awesome. Maybe like a little more kind of connection to his. Do we know what she is exactly?
Like his girlfriend. Like I guess
Girlfriend?
it's
Yeah,
girlfriend.
maybe more there
Yeah.
to kind of connect more to him. But again, he is very cold in that way. Like it's just kind of like I can't really grab on anything emotional, with him.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, really, really solid, solid movie. Again, with the sound design, the action, the direction, all that stuff, acting, all fantastic.
100%. 100%. Wow, I'm so glad you had that on there. And we had it at the
Yeah,
exact same place. Wow. All right, great. What is your 7 and 6? What is your 7?
my 7 is uh, the Iron Claw.
That is punt.
Okay. And then my 6 is a movie that I don't really know your opinion. I don't know if it's on this list because I think you told me you were kind of like, meh, not for me. And that is Maestro.
Uh, I'm glad that we're going to talk about this. No, that is
Not
not
on yours.
whiffing this list. That's not. Somebody get Snoopy from the vestibule. It's his day.
Here's my thing. So
It's his day. Sorry, it's
all that, so the whole first hour for me, and I feel like if you're not in on the first hour for Maestro, you're probably out for the entire movie. That all worked for me. All like the kind of crazy little shots where we go overhead and
mm,
you know all that stuff that worked, and I think from that point I was just locked in. But I think what really brings me in, and it's not Bradley Cooper, it's Carey Mulligan. She fucking killed it in this movie, in my opinion. Really? No, you didn't
man.
think so?
I don't know. I think she. I'm like. I hate to be this like. What is it? This curt about it, but it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like she's just playing like the. Oh, I have cancer and my husband is sleeping with other men.
You're
It's
telling
like
me like
I
that scene when they're in the doctor's office and they come in with the diagnosis, and that didn't get you whatsoever, nothing?
no, not really.
Wow.
I mean, it was just.
Um,
I think it was just. It was all a little
yeah.
too much.
I
I think.
I can see the like Bradley, like he's hamming it up, he's
Yeah.
hamming it up for the camera. He really wants that Oscar. But I'll tell you what, and again, this is just another thing. and again, maybe you'll disagree, but the orchestrating the 6-minute scene of him just kind of really conducting this orchestra and watching the original, obviously, video of that. I was just locked in the entire time.
I will say, I mean, the one thing that I get, I mean, I think I gave it 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
The movie looks incredible.
Yes,
I mean, it looks incredible. I think in every other way but cinematography, I think it is wholly worse than Star is Born. Now that's saying a lot because I think Star is Born is.
Yeah, I'd probably say Star is Born is probably better.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot because that's not only a personal favorite movie of mine, but it's also it's his first time writing and directing and starring and everything like that. I don't know. I just think it just really it just didn't click. I don't know.
But I think something else too that kind of gets me as well is that I feel like he's talked so much about how much time he put into studying for this role, and he spent 6 years of his life learning to conduct and doing all this research and all this stuff. So I feel like, to me, it's like he's not hamming it up just like for the sit. Like, he's doing it because like he really feels like, this connection or something.
Yeah.
But again, like, to me, like I said, like, performance that really got me was Carey Mulligan, because I thought she was fantastic. And I might be on trying to think like who's going to be nominated, but count me in for the Carey Mulligan train of winning the Oscar
over Lily Gladstone.
Yeah, I would say so.
Wow. Let's just say for the first.
I'll be interested to see if that movie's on this list.
I was just gonna say, let's just say for the first time in this entire show, that's the first time that movie's popped in my head. And I've been looking at this screen for a long time. So what is your number 6?
That was my 6.
Okay.
I said was Iron
Claw. Okay. That's right. That's right. I forgot we punted that. Right. My number 7 is a movie that I hope is maybe on your list. And that is MI7.
It's on my honorable mention.
Oh, okay, there you go. So my number 7 is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I guess just Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning now is what it's called. Amazing. I love these movies so much. Yeah. I really liked it the first time. We saw that together, right? In IMAX?
Yes, yeah. Yep.
I really liked it the first time I saw it. And then the further I got away from it, I was like, is that as good as like whatever? Yeah. I let the internet tell me maybe it wasn't. I knew that I probably thought that Fallout was still the best.
I think Fallout's still the best.
Yeah. But then I rewatched this movie in the surround sound. It was one of the first movies that I watched in the surround sound. And it just blew me away. It is like, whether it's Shea Wiggum as the like cop that's chasing him with his partner the entire movie, whether it's just all the main characters with Rebecca Ferguson as Ilsa and everything that she goes through, and then just Tom Cruise just holding it down. I just really love this movie, and it's not as good as Fallout, but it is such a worthy like companion and just going right up there with the best of the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, it's just a shame because it got eaten by Oppenheimer, basically.
Yeah, no, it's
because it came out I think a week before it was. But I'm with you. I think it's probably, I want to say I probably have it as the second best. Actually, let me check my rankings.
Yeah, I know mine is definitely second best for me.
But no, I definitely agree. It's definitely a very solid movie. Yep, second on my list. I think for me, it's maybe trying to think where they really kind of lost me. It was probably maybe the villain and not the AI. Just kind of.
You mean like
it was a little
like the kind of past thing?
It was all kind of wonky. I don't know. Yeah, it was just it was all a little wonky to me.
It definitely had. I think one for one, the biggest difference there is like whether you're talking about Issa Morales or the
Mm.
entity, like the AI
Yeah.
entity, nobody's touching what Henry Cavill did as August
Yeah.
Walker in Fallout. That is like
Yeah.
what Fallout has going for it that maybe only Mission Impossible 3 also has going for it
Yeah.
with Philip Seymour Hoffman is it feels like a lot's going on, but at the core of it, it is Ethan versus this guy versus
Mhm.
this other person. And I think that that's
Yeah.
severely lacking in Dead Reckoning, but I
Or
still
like
loved it.
something that always pops back to me is like the scene between him and like Carrie Elway and how
Oh
they
yeah,
like
yeah.
have this big dump of like, and it's like 10 minutes. I feel like it feels like I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I get it. Like, okay, like, just go. Like, come on. Like, stuff like that where I was just kind of like, man, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, and I do think that might be, it might. Some people might say it's like a little overly long. It's like 2:37, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I loved it. But
Mhm.
another movie that was very long, but was perfect is my number 6 is maybe on your list. John Wick, Chapter 4.
That's another honorable mention.
Oh man. Oh man, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself.
Hey, what do I always say about John Wick movies? They just get better with each one, in my opinion. I still think it goes, the order is literally bottom to top,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't pack like it didn't pack like an emotional punch or anything for me, But still, for what it is, it's fantastic.
Uh I love this movie. I love
Mhm.
this movie. I love this movie's trailer.
I gotta rewatch it. I have
Yes, you
it.
do.
I own
Absolutely.
it. I just
Yeah. 100%.
yeah.
I love this movie so much. I love its trailer. I love the vibes of it, the look, the music, everything. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes and there is not a wasted second in that movie.
Mhm.
Maybe you could say, oh, it might still be too long, but with the time that they take, they do not waste any of it, and I think that's fair if you feel that way. I've definitely felt the emotional connection. I just felt like I'm so invested in this character and in this world, um, that it just put it over the top, and everything else combined,
Mhm.
it's my number 6. I thought it was fantastic. It's a movie I know I will be similar to how, like you said, they're all getting better with every movie, but also when one was out, I would watch I would watch one all the time. Then when two came out, I would watch two. Then when three came out, I would watch three. Now, anytime I'm in the mood for John Wick, I don't
Mhm.
go and like binge John Wick very often, but I will always go to like the last movie. So now, whenever I want to live in the John Wick universe, I will go into the fourth movie, which to me is the most saturated in that universe, the most steeped into the John Wick universe, of any of them, and I really love that about it. But yeah, all right, that is it for the top five. We have both of our top fives out, so now we're gonna trade one
I mean, bottom
apiece.
5.
Bottom five. Absolutely. Now we are going to trade one apiece as we work our way up through our top five. So
Okay.
TJ, first off,
My
what is
5.
your number 5?
My 5 is a movie that I just watched a few days ago, and I
Oh
believe
man.
it's probably on your list. I don't actually know for sure. Actually, maybe not, because I think I saw your rating of it. It is a movie called Poor Things.
That is an honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Oh, did you say Poor Things?
I did, yeah.
My bad.
No, that's fine.
Um, yeah, I think I mean, what can you say? I mean, Emma Stone was fantastic. Everybody's fantastic. Mark Ruffalo too. Um, just obviously the way it's filmed, the cinematography, the acting, all that stuff is amazing. The kind of growth that her character goes through, coming from spoiler for the movie, how she has her child's brain put in her body, and how she kind of looks at the world around her. And when you meet her, obviously she's acting like her eight or her
Like a
her head's
toddler.
aging
Yeah.
like a toddler, and then you see that kind of growth throughout the movie as she spends more time with these different people, um, specifically, I guess, Mark Ruffalo, and how I guess she's also taken advantage of. I feel like she never, she finally gets her to make her own choices too, because
Hmm.
even like where we start, obviously the whole thing is like Mark Ruffalo is this terrible person who sees her as like this thing that he can have, and when she starts to start and make her own decisions, she starts to be aware of what she's doing. She obviously pushes back, and that makes him not a happy person.
Hmm.
But even like Willem Dafoe, like his character, like he is, you like him as a character, but he still like took
He took
like
advantage of a situation. Yeah, for sure.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so at that point too, like that put me into conflict as well. I was watching, I was like, well, I like him, but it's like I don't know, like he did this thing without even asking, obviously, and you don't know what she went through when she threw herself off the bridge, obviously.
Yeah.
So we don't know why she wanted to die. Just all these different kind of questions swirling in my head while I was watching. I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought that the look of it and everything, I thought that the performances and the set design and the cinematography and the color
Mhm.
grading and the camera work and the performances and Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo and Rami Youssef and everybody. I thought it was in the script. I thought it was all
Yeah.
great, but I did not get a thing to latch onto. I felt.
Mhm.
I felt I was very invested in her development, and I remember myself sitting back and going, especially later scenes of the movie where she's so now well spoken, and she was like dressed, and she wears those like um kind of like black outfits towards the
Mhm.
end of the movie.
Yep. Mhm.
And she says to her dad, like, I'm going to be, I think I want to be a doctor. I think that's what I want to do. And he's like, oh great. Like that stuff I really love, because I was like, what, that's where I that scene is where I really was like, okay, I feel the progression. I feel the progression. I just feel like I kind of lost the progression at some point in the movie, and it just started feeling like the movie was like happening at me,
Mhm.
and I just felt like I didn't get a thing to like latch onto or get like a stable footing into the emotional kind of elements of the movie. So for that, just I don't know. Believe me, I am not popular at work for this opinion, but I just it didn't grab me
Yeah.
in the way that it should have. I guess in the way that I wanted it to.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. My number five, or anything else on Poor Things.
No, that's it.
So my number five is a punt from earlier, which is the number one movie of the year,
Mm.
and that is Barbie.
Barbie.
I love this movie. I've watched this
Mm.
movie I think 5 times now,
Wow.
and it is incredible. It's so good. Margot Robbie is fantastic. I know everybody. Oh, it's Ken that people are talking about. Margot Robbie's performance in this is so good. I will say time and time and time again. Talking about I didn't connect enough with Poor Things.
Mhm.
I don't cry anymore at it, but the first 2 times I watched it, when it has the close up of, not in that way, but when it has the close up of Margot Robbie's chest, when she is like deciding to become a human, and you see her first like breath like fill her lungs, and then the Billie Eilish song kicks in, and it starts that montage. The first 2 times I watched this, it would get me to cry every single time.
Mhm.
I was so gripped and in this movie, and just going along for the fun ride and like the zany comedy and stuff too. And then when it takes that tone shift to a more mellow, melancholy, kind of sad, dramatic beat, um, I loved it. I was there for it 100%. Um, I just really really love this movie, and everything else about it. But I think that particular stuff in the third act with Margot Robbie and Rhea Perlman really really works for me every single time I watch it. And I just think that Greta Gerwig made an incredible movie. That I know some people don't feel this way, that of maybe the quality of the caliber of the movie, but I put it right up there with Little Women and Lady Bird, as I just think she is
Wow.
three for
Yeah.
three on just three incredible movies,
Mhm.
for me at least. What
Yeah,
about
no, I echo everything you said.
Echo?
Uh, exactly. Yeah. Everybody in it, specifically Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, I think are fantastic. The dance numbers, the songs, all that stuff completely works for me. I too got to rewatch it. Again, another one I own. I
Have you
haven't.
only seen it once?
I've only seen it the one time.
Oh
Yep.
wow, yeah, it is so good, so good. Particularly that third act, very very good,
Mm.
and obviously America Ferrera as well is really good. Um, so what is your number 4?
My number 4. I think this is gonna be a punt too. Um, and honestly, it probably could be. Maybe it could probably be higher, but movie I really wanted to see, wasn't did never really had time. Finally found time on Sunday. And that is Godzilla -1.
That is a punt.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So my number 4 is a punt from your earlier, which
Yeah.
is
Iron Claw.
the Iron Claw. Holy shit, man! I was like, all right. I want to kind of keep spoilers
Can you
light
believe
on
that's
this one.
real?
I can't believe it's real. I want to kind of keep spoilers light on this one just because it came out
Yeah.
so recently. Man, when the bulk of what happens, I was
Mhm.
like, I didn't cry. People were like, bring the tissues, it's whatever. Those final 2 scenes with
Mhm.
Jeremy Allen White and Harris Dickinson and the other brother, and then with Zac Efron and his kids, I was destroyed.
Mhm.
I was like absolutely destroyed with those 2 scenes back to back. Also, the one with him and his father towards
Yeah.
the end of the movie,
Mhm.
where Zac Efron finally kind of, it's not really a big spoiler, but where Zac Efron finally, really, for the first time in his life, as a 40-something-year-old man, stands up to his father for the first time ever.
Mhm.
That kind of like, oh my god, why aren't you talking to your dad about how horrible of a person he is being? That like weight off your chest when it
Yeah.
finally happens is one of the most cathartic experiences I've had in a movie theater this year. And then on top of that, just every single person giving maybe the performance of their career. I think including Harris Dickinson, as good as he's been in all the stuff he's been in lately. I think this is easily his best role. I've seen some people saying that they did not like Jeremy Allen White in this movie. I think he is fantastic in
Yeah.
this. I think Holt McElhaney is fantastic. I think Lily James is good. Oh my god, I can't remember the name of the woman that plays their mother. What is her name? Oh, Maura Tierney. Right, of course. Yeah, Maura Tierney as their mom, I think, is quietly one of the strongest performances in the movie, just because of how
Mhm.
pulled back and reserved that she is, and also how pulled back and reserved her part of the script and the story is. I think she's working with such little material, but it's obviously on purpose for what they want to say about the role that their mother played in their lives. Um, Everything is just incredible, and I think, oh my god, Zac Efron. I wish that this movie had a longer run up for Oscar eligibility and stuff. I mean, it is totally Oscar eligible. I just mean the campaigning and stuff. I wish it was there as on the same level for Zac Efron as
Mhm.
some of these other people. I mean, we'll know in the next couple of weeks when Oscar nominations come out. I think it'd be hard for him to get a nomination at this point, but man, if he does, it is so deserving. I just think Zac Efron is incredible in this movie and shows that he is every bit capable of a career path like a Bradley Cooper. That is, you start in kind of Bradley Cooper, it was like rom coms and stuff. You start in High School Musical and move your way up to like rom coms and stuff that he's been doing with Baywatch and everything. But he also this year had that movie, the $1 Million Beer Run, or the greatest beer run in the
Greatest. Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
which was like a kind of like a Vietnam kind of interesting movie, which I had no
Oh,
idea about. Yeah, I didn't know any of that part about it. Apparently, it's like the greatest beer run is he's trying to get this beer to his brother who's like at war or something.
Oh,
Yeah, so I had no idea about that. It's like 1917 but with beer. Um and apparently he's fantastic in that too. So I it makes me want to go back and watch that movie, but more importantly this movie is just incredibly good. Sorry, I've hogged up a lot of time talking about Iron Claw. What are your thoughts on it?
no, you're
'Cause it
good.
is on your list. What number was it?
7.
Okay.
Uh, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, specifically those, like you said, those 3 scenes, really, really got me at the end. Even like again, the physicality of them, jumping in the ring and doing
Oh yeah.
all this stuff. I mean,
The things that Zac
that was
Efron
crazy.
does to his body in this, and not
Yeah.
just Zac Efron, main everyone in this movie. Not I was just gonna say because even their dad in the earlier scenes, what the actors do to their own physical bodies that
Mhm.
is not stunt people because you could see it on camera. It's them is pretty wild and like moving. Honestly, to me.
And can you know that they like left one out, right?
Yeah, so I actually didn't. Well, maybe I'll ask you that off camera because that'll probably get
Okay.
into spoilers. But yeah, I do
Right.
have a question about that because,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
So my 3, right?
Yes.
So my
Go for
3
it.
is maybe you can probably guess what it is. Movie that you have not seen, unfortunately, but I think is fantastic and
Past lives.
just very moving. And that's Past Lives.
Damn.
I just a great story about 2 people that you know know each other very young and have a very close relationship, but when Greta Lee, her character, moves away to America from South Korea, they reconnect kind of 20 years later, and that kind of relationship and how it's changed and how they've changed as people. Uh, and they were kind of I don't know what you want to call it when you're that young, kind of like sweethearts at a very young age, and now at this point when they reconnect and they're talking about visiting each other, but neither one of them has enough money, and then we skip ahead, I want to say 5 years or so, and
Mm-hmm.
she's married and now he's coming to New York City to visit her, and kind of that relationship that they have, and how they've grown as people, and just a really just moving story. This one got tears out of me.
Oh man.
Yeah, I highly suggest you watch it because it's very good.
What is it on? Or did you just rent it
It's from the
or did you get
library,
it from the
so you
library?
can
Okay.
you can put it on hold right now if you want.
Damn. You know what? All
Um,
right, I will. I will watch it. I mean, that's one that obviously I wanted to watch, and obviously I knew it probably would make this list, but
yeah.
I that is definitely one that I will be watching before
Mhm.
the Oscars, which it probably won't even be nominated for anything, which is very strange that one of the front runners to win the foreign language film or international film at the Golden Globes, Anatomy of a Fall, which did win, is not eligible for the international Oscar, and Past Lives is not
They didn't
eligible.
submit it, right? Oh
Yeah,
no, it's not.
they didn't submit of a Fall. France didn't, and Past
Right.
Lives isn't eligible because it's spoken in Mandarin, but it's an American film.
Right.
It was shot or not shot in, but it was produced in America, so it's gotta run its competition up against just everyone
Hmm.
essentially, which kind of sucks. But I guess we'll see what happens. But I really, really want to see that movie badly. Another movie that well, it was a pun from earlier. That is my number 3 is Godzilla -1. Which honestly, if I could have 3 number ones this year, I would.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I would.
Yeah.
Um, this movie, I don't even know what to say. I'm like empty of words to talk about this movie of how good it
Mhm.
is. I mean, I've seen it twice. Yeah. Not yeah, twice I've seen
I
it.
gotta see it again.
Unlike you, the first time I saw it was in IMAX.
Mhm.
It is just like not an awesome movie, but it is an awesome movie. Like you are in awe of what you are seeing on film. It is just like, I don't know, man. It felt like the fucking monster was real. I was
Hmm. Those
like
eyes.
I
How about those
know,
eyes?
I know, and I love the MonsterVerse Godzilla. I love the
Mhm.
Monarch Godzilla and everything like that. Um, but that's like, Godzilla's like the people's champion. He's the people's champ in those movies. This he is. I'll say it. This movie he is Osama bin Laden. Like he is 100%
Mhm.
a terrorist, natural disaster, whatever you want to call the analogy. Obviously, the analogy to the bomb. It is a great, um, it is a great double feature and kind of sister film to Oppenheimer. It really is, in not a joking way at all.
Mm.
I think you can watch those movies one right after another, um, and they speak to each other very very well. Um, but the performances of the main characters uh, are so moving and so incredible. And then even some of the minor characters like Doc and the captain and
Oh my
all
god.
these different people that you meet.
So endearing. Like
I know.
you just want to know them
You
basically.
want
Like
to
they're
know them. You
just-
want to get into their lives when certain things happen. Again, I want to keep it kind of spoiler free on this one too because it's just so like I want so many people to be able to see and
Mm.
see this whole movie and everything like that. Um, it is just so like I don't know. I feel like I'm at a loss for words to explain it. The sound, the visuals,
Yep.
the atomic breath. I mean, everything. It is like I was like this in the
Mm.
seat. You're like stuck to the back of your seat. It's so crazy. But what about you? What are some of the things? It's just
Yeah, I mean
so good.
I'm with you on basically everything. Obviously the Godzilla just looks fantastic. And maybe the best he's looked honestly in any of the movies
Probably his
I've
best
seen at least.
design. Yeah.
Yeah. And how he kind of grows too as it goes on. Um, Another movie that I don't know about you, but I was shedding some tears. I mean, I got very much connected to our kind of two main characters, and when what happens in the middle. I was kind of like,
I know.
I, I was
You were
so
blown
like,
away
I w- literally, yeah, I was just so upset, honestly, in the
when that
moment. I was
happened,
like, what?
dude. You could hear a pin drop in
Yeah.
IMAX. It
Oh
was
yeah,
it
I
was
can
a it
imagine.
was a nearly full theater. And you could
Yeah,
hear
and
a
just
pin drop.
and again, just kind of that moment, and then we show the kind of mushroom cloud, and then
Him
obviously
yelling
we
into
have
it.
and him yelling into it, and then we have the rain, the black
Yeah.
rain, kind of come down and just cover his. I mean, it was all kind. It was just amazing, obviously, in the moment. Um, and the I will say like the kind of ending scene where we're throwing everything at him and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and when what happens, and we obviously have our conversation with the character we meet in the beginning
Hmm.
on the island, and that kind of moment where he realizes like what he said, and he did what he said he should do, which is survive.
Yeah.
You'll get it when you watch it, but just that moment too, I was just like, I don't know, it just had me
Hmm.
emotionally. I was like, motherfucker, like you got me. Like I didn't think, again, a Godzilla movie. I didn't think I'm gonna be feeling this for the characters, but I am.
I mean, at the very end, when I'll just say, when she says, "Is your war finally over?"
Yeah.
That shit was like, oh my god. I just it's one of those movies too that like you can throw it in the indomitable human spirit type movie, where it's just like, man, yeah, like you're just like, yeah, like it's got
Yeah.
that. It does kind of have that like Top Gun element to it, Top Gun Maverick element, where it's just like, man, you just like feel good watching it, and not to throw around like the pretentious like Thomas Flight words, but like it does have that kind of like meta modern thing of like,
Mhm.
if this same movie came out 20 years ago, that person is not surviving. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
the end of the movie is just they died. And this one is like, no, we got to strive for a better
Mhm.
answer. Like Doc's whole speech on this country has in my opinion, this country has treated life far too loosely, or whatever he said. That whole speech, that whole monologue is
Yeah.
so good.
Full disclosure, I might have missed that because I had to go to the bathroom.
Damn. Okay.
I might have missed that speech.
But I mean, that's why I watch it again. But
Yeah.
that speech that he gives is just one of the absolute best moments of the movie. It's so just like that's what it's all about. Is he's like,
Mhm.
this country has thrown our lives away, and he's like, for once I would just like if we can pull off this objective with the civilian force and not have a single casualty. And well, you gotta watch the movie to find out. But it's just that scene is so good and so moving. And I like this in chat. Michelle said, as someone who grew up with the Japanese Godzilla films, this was so close to that, just more elegant. It was a wonderful retro moment on film. It does have that retro feel to it. As obviously it's a period piece, but more than that, it's like the filmmaking itself feels like it was made using techniques that would have been more used in that day. And I just love the way that it looks. But yeah.
Real quick, just speaking of this too, the score on this was
Oh yeah.
crazy good.
Ooh.
I don't know how I recognize the main theme of like the original.
I think it's just one of those things that's just
movies.
in everyone's brain.
But like every time it popped up, I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know that." That score, and then also I think it was another one of these movies that I don't remember. It was either Poor Things or The Killer. I don't remember which one it was.
Both of those movies have a great score.
Yeah, maybe it was both of them,
Really
but
good.
yeah, the Godzilla one, I was like, whew.
Yeah,
Like-
I cannot wait to watch that at home in the surround. That is
Yeah.
going to be the second the 4K comes out. If the Steelbook is cool enough, that is like, or even
I don't think it is actually.
Oh,
I'll
great.
be honest.
Okay.
I think they had an image of it. It wasn't that. It was
great.
not great.
Okay. Well, there you go. Maybe I'll wait for the Criterion, which there probably will and should be for this movie. So good. All right. Here we go.
I do.
Your two.
I think we have the same 1 and 2, and they're probably the same, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
My 2 is The Holdovers.
That is a punt.
Wow. Okay. All right.
That is a
All
punt.
right.
Welcome, Molly's Cauldron. What is your favorite movie of the year? Well, what do you want to do?
You just say your 2, and then we'll one. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, all right. I think we've already figured out where we're at here,
Yeah.
but I guess I'll bow gracefully here,
Okay.
and I'll say that my 2 is Oppenheimer, and my 1 is The Holdovers.
Yeah. Then my 1 is Oppenheimer.
So we can talk about The Holdovers first.
Yeah. We'll
I
talk
get
about
it.
The Holdovers.
Oppenheimer's is such a good movie. I mean this in no small way that The Holdovers, I think, has changed my life.
Wow.
I've watched this movie 5 times. I was wrong earlier. I've watched Barbie 4 times. I've watched The Holdovers 5 times, and more than that, I have pulled up Peacock and gone through. Welcome to everybody watching us. We are about to talk about our number 2 and our number 1 movies of the year. Let us know, what is your favorite movies of the year. Let us know. We're talking about The Holdovers, and in no small way, this movie like literally re-altered my brain chemistry of just. I just love this movie so much. It is like my comfort movie. It is my happy place. I just Dominic Sessa, Divine Joy Randolph, and Paul Giamatti are so good, and the vibe and the snow and the look and the colors and the film grain on it, and just Paul Giamatti as Paul Hunham is one of the most to use another Reddit film term, the like literally me syndrome of just like I watched that movie and I'm just like, man, I know this guy's kind of mean, but like if I could be half of this when I'm 50, I would be like happy. Like I watch this movie over and over and over again, and I honestly I think about it all the time. I mean, it's the closest I think I have been in a long time to Scott Mantz level of love for La La Land. I am literally shouting from the rooftops to everyone that will hear me to go and watch this movie, especially now that it's on Peacock. Um, I just I love this movie so much. I don't know, and I think that Alexander Payne did a great job directing it. I know there's possibly some stuff going on with him, so we'll leave it at that
Yeah,
for
I'll be
that.
honest.
But
I don't know anything about that. I feel like I've seen it talked about a lot, and I still don't know what's happening.
it's
But
like
I think
we
I
don't
even
have to get into
Googled
it
it. I
here.
was
Yeah,
like, I still don't know.
we don't have to get into it here, other than to say
Okay.
like I guess it's a thing that has been around for a while, and I mean nothing has happened of it, so I don't really know. I don't really know, and I think nobody
Yeah,
really
yeah.
knows. So I think the internet that is getting upset about it, I think is probably getting too upset about it, and the people that are not probably should know at least that it's out there. But
Mhm.
he does a phenomenal job directing this. I just think it is so good. And again, Dominic Sessa being his first acting role ever. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
being
That's
a
crazy.
in the high school theater where they shot this movie and just
Hmm.
going to the random, hey, we need a kid for this movie. Let's give people the option to audition. And then apparently beating out like 800 people that the casting director went and saw. Um, and giving this performance is just so good. And Divine Joy Randolph is incredible. Her as Mary is like one of the most quietly devastating performances I think of the year. Particularly
Hmm.
her at the Christmas party. And I can't really say, I literally can't say enough about Paul Giamatti in this movie. I think it's his best role, maybe of his career. Um, and I think that he has I think he has every chance and shot to win the best actor this year. I think it is so firmly between him and Killian Murphy. It's not even funny. I mean, look no further than the fact that they both won Best Actor at the Golden Globes literally 2 days ago. So I love this movie. I love it so much. I will buy it instantly. It's only out on Blu-ray. There's no 4K or anything. So like I'm waiting around a little bit to see if maybe like they do a nice 4K release of it. If not, I guess we'll just get the Blu-ray. But
Yeah.
what did you think of the holdovers?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, the acting, the sound, just
Yeah,
kind of the feel of it. I don't really know how to describe that, but all works for me.
it's kind of like scratchy.
Yeah, the comedy was a big part for me. Um, Made me
100%.
laugh whenever Paul Giamatti, he was telling a joke or anything. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was the funniest thing in the
Roastmaster
world.
General.
Just his quick little kind of quips and kind of it almost sounds like high intelligent insults, kind
Mm-hmm.
of with the words that he uses. That all worked so well for me. Um,
You
and
hit
then
him
even
with my car.
yeah, with what is it? You sexual miscreant or whatever
Yeah,
he says.
you little miscreant. You man,
um,
you
and
bore.
then yeah, Divine Joy Randolph, her character's kind of story and where she goes. That's
And
all
everything with
all great.
her son in Vietnam and
And her
everything
son
like
and
and just the
yeah, and then
Christmas feels and vibes of it. It's like
right. And um Dominic Sessa is character. I mean,
crazy.
that kind of where we end up, I guess, is just like again, this is another movie that it got me. There was tears in my eyes. Again, another character I just really connected to,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and what he goes through, and that scene in that hospital. I mean, again, I just can't believe that was his first time acting. Like that's
It's insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
First role or whatever. That's crazy to me. But yeah, no, I 100% agree on Giamatti. I think it's him and probably Killian, like you said, for top two. I still think I don't know. He was really good, and I would say I guess Killian Murphy's performance is like more subdued. I guess I
Yeah.
would say.
I would say yeah.
So I guess we'll see how that kind of evens out. But even like his Paul Giamatti, like his character, when he's like you got kicked out of Harvard. He's like, yeah, this guy wanted to cheat off me, and I didn't let him, or whatever. Or no, he cheated. Was it? He cheated off me.
He
And he took
accused me
credit.
of plagiarizing,
That's what it was. He
even though he
accused me of
was the one that did it.
plagiarizing.
Yeah.
Right. Or even that all crazy story where it's like he like obviously he had aspirations for something greater. I didn't want to come back. I didn't want to come back to the school and teach. But that's where I ended up.
Yeah.
But trying to make the most of that. That it's this is going in the rotation. This is a Christmas
100%,
rotation.
100%. Very, very good. All right. So, what is your number one?
Number one's Oppenheimer.
That's my number two.
Hasn't really changed for me. What can I say?
What even is there to say? I don't even know.
Everything that goes into that movie is just fantastic. Like,
crazy.
I don't know. And maybe you could say the last 40 minutes where it turns into like a courtroom drama, I guess. But I don't know that even after Trinity test, I'm still they got me 100%.
100%. I literally don't even know what to say about this movie. I'm just like, it is. I love The Holdovers. It is my favorite movie of the year, but Oppenheimer is the most movie that maybe a movie has ever movied. Like literally, when you're talking about this year, I mean, the craziness that this movie is. I mean, it's 3 hours. It's Avengers Endgame length, and it is just nonstop. I mean, I literally put this movie on before I got the surround, but I put this movie on a month. Oh, when I watched it for the first time with when you gave me the code. When I watched it for the first time with that, and then after that I got the physical. But when I watched it for the first time on the digital, and I was like, let me watch the opening of this scene. And then I was like, oh man, this opening scene goes on for a long time. And then I realized it had been an hour and a half. And I was like, it just rattles along. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. It's like the 3 hours feel like 3 minutes. I mean, it feels like it's all so condensed, and it's like, I don't know. It's such a perfect movie. It's like the closest thing that you can get to a perfect movie. And that is so insane to wrap my head around, that this guy who my entire life, your entire life, we have been told, this is the guy. This is the up-and-coming guy that is like, Christopher Nolan is the director right now. There he is. Oppenheimer, boom. Like, we have been told that this guy, Christopher Nolan, is like the guy. And the fact that 20-something years into his like professional career, to me, he has made probably his best movie. I mean, I love The Prestige. That's always been my favorite Nolan movie. This blows everything out of the water. Everything shuffles down. Batman, Interstellar, Inception, Prestige, everything. It is so good. Cillian Murphy is incredible. I mean, everybody. Robert Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy, obviously, in particular. But then there's so many other people like Florence Pugh, Jason Clarke, Matt Damon, Casey Affleck, Josh Hartnett. I mean, you could David Krumholtz. You could literally sit here and name people for 10 minutes. I mean, literally, and be like named people that are like actually have dialogue in the movie. Josh Peck, Jack Quaid, all of those guys like just actually add stuff and are actually really good in the movie. But it is none of it works without Cillian Murphy's performance at the center of it. And more than him, none of it works without the mind of Christopher Nolan. And Emma Thomas, the producer, Christopher Nolan's wife, that produces all of his films. It was obviously nothing to do with the fact that they're married. Just she has produced every single one of his movies and is a huge part of how these movies get made. And the look and the visuals and the recreating the time periods, the hair and makeup for the different time periods, the use of color versus black and white. The use of like invasive imagery, uh, and character perspective. I mean, it is just like firing on every single cylinder that a movie can have, and creating some new ones that we didn't even know were possible. It is just it is the movie of the year. But for me, on a personal note, I have to put Holdover slightly higher. But man, Oppenheimer
Yeah.
is just it is the movie of the year, no question. It is going to win Best Picture, not even a question.
I think there's, I don't know. I haven't seen Anatomy of Fall. A lot of people saying that's, up, definitely up there.
That wins over
But
Oppenheimer. I'm throwing my TV in the
I think
river.
so. I don't know. All right, so let's list out our top 10 one more time. And then I do have a question for you that I don't know if it was in your honorable mention, but I think you watched it, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. But why don't you list your top 10? I'll do mine. I'll ask you that question.
My number 10 is Air. Number 9, Ferrari. Number 8, The Killer. Number 7, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Number 6, John Wick Chapter 4. Number 5, Barbie. Number 4, The Iron Claw. Number 3, Godzilla Minus One. Number 2, Oppenheimer. And number 1, The Holdovers.
And my number 10 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Number 9 is Barbie. Number 8 is The Killer. Number 7 is The Iron Claw. Number 6 is Maestro. Number 5 is Poor Things. Number 4 is Godzilla Minus One. Number 3 is Past Lives. Number 2, The Holdovers. And number 1, Oppenheimer. And that will conclude our top 10 of 2023 rankings.
Boom.
Question I have for you is, I don't know if you watched the movie. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised it was. Actually, I guess I can't be surprised that it was. If it was on your list, because I don't know if you watched it.
Mhm.
Did you watch May December?
I did.
What did you think of that? And how was it nominated for comedy in Golden Globes?
I don't know. I can kind of. I don't know. I feel like we'd need a whole podcast to really get into that movie. I will say it is very. I have a question to throw back to you, and I want your thoughts on Leave the World Behind. I want to end off on that, but for May December, I think Natalie Portman is really really good in it, and I think Julianne Moore is really really good in it. I don't personally see that it's an award movie of any kind. To be honest. And I really don't think, I mean, it's really never been serious talks. I mean, like, there have been some talks when it was really hitting big on Netflix, but it was mainly the internet that was like, oh my God, Charles Melton needs to get nominated for this. He should win the Best Supporting Actor. I'm like, that guy's, like, not really doing anything in that movie. Like, other than the fact... Go for it.
I will push back and say I thought he did a very good job of showcasing, especially in his kind of scenes with Natalie Portman, his characters and the scene on the roof as well, and a little bit later as well with
Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That his character is very much
like underdeveloped.
What is he? How old is he?
I think he's like 36.
36, but he has the emotional intelligence of like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a very good job of showing that.
That is true. Yeah. I just don't think it was like Oscar worthy. That is true. I shouldn't have said that he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to say he's not doing anything.
Yeah, he was definitely good. And what I was going to say before you said that was, and I get if you're grading it on the curve of like this guy just came from Riverdale and he's like putting he's holding his own with these two like powerhouse actresses. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see where you're like kind of where, you know, people have claimed like, well, it's kind of like the whole thing's a comedy because it's just like so crazy, like how these people feel. No. I don't really see that, but then again, I don't really see much in.
How is the situation funny? It's not funny. It's
not that it's funny. It's more that like Yeah, I don't really think it is funny. I'm just saying I've seen people say that that's it. I'm just
Right.
like I can't even like sit here and think like I think it's just something maybe that people are seeing that's like within Julianne Moore's performance that like it's like the lisp and like the kind of
Yeah.
weird
Yeah,
affectations
the
that
dog
she
wire.
has.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's maybe stuff like that that people are like,
I don't
am
have
I
dogs.
supposed to be laughing at this? I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, I think mainly for me, what doesn't work is the vibe. Is just kind of the vibe of how it's set up with the score and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff does not work for me. The score was maybe the most annoying thing.
Yeah.
I was just like, can we stop with this, please? Like,
hmm
it's just so
I
dramatic.
can't
Like,
quite hear it in my mind right now, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Of
it's
just
just so like to
it's too
me, it was
much.
so extra. I
Yeah.
was like, fucking hell, just please stop.
Yeah. It's too much.
um, but yeah, no,
But what did you think of
I thought
Leave the World Behind?
Leave the World Behind. I just thought I don't know because I saw the reason I decided to watch is because I don't. You've probably seen those TikTok videos where everybody's like, "Watch this movie. They're trying to tell you something." You know, it was produced by the Obamas. You haven't seen these?
I haven't been on TikTok in
Oh
quite a
my
few
god!
months,
It's
but
like all these people
wow.
that are like, watch. You know, they're trying to, and of course that right there. Whenever somebody is kind of like when I feel like they're saying all this stuff, meanwhile the movie's not really saying that.
Yeah,
That's when I start to dislike a movie, not just that person, but the movie in general.
I get that
Um,
100%. Yeah.
and I don't know, it just felt kind of. I'm trying to even like remember back to it because it was like a week ago or two that I watched it. I don't know. I just didn't really buy into it. I got the whole thing about the technology and what if we lose all technology, what that's going to turn us into. It's
But
all
what
going to
if
turn
we
us against
all what if we all hear me out on this? What if we all put the phones down?
what if we put the
What
what
if
if
we
we
all
put
put the phones down and turn the screens
yeah
off? Anybody?
and Sandra Bullock, Julia
Remember when we
Roberts
used to
playing
have
like
conversations?
yeah
That's what that movie feels
I
like.
and I don't think personally like again I think everybody would agree with this that kind of human interaction has obviously taken a downturn since iPhones and stuff were invented
hmm
and social media, but I feel like I feel like it's hard to say that like people don't have real conversations anymore because of you know social media phone usage.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like that's a very like not early 2000s because we've been alive too long for that. That's like a
Yeah.
very like early 2010s
hmm
thing, I guess, which feels weird that we're not in the 2010s anymore, even though we're almost in the middle of the 20 we are in the middle of the 2020s.
Yeah.
Um that just feels like a very like
Yeah.
early Facebook like, hey man, you know, what if we all just like started talking to each other again? Remember
Yeah.
when we used to talk to each other?
Some of the writing was
Oh yeah, the writing is terrible. Like you
like
said, the
what
thing
we're
about the
making
Venn
Mahershala
diagram.
Ali.
Yeah,
Yeah, like oh
yeah,
we've crossed we're in the same section of the Venn
yeah. We might
diagram.
not like each other, but I think this is where we cross over in the Venn diagram.
Or like when they had
Okay.
Mahershala Ali saying this stuff where it's like, I have this client who's a military contractor and he's friends with powerful people, and the powerful people say you better get well. I'm like,
Yeah, you better get your bunker
what?
ready. What?
Like we got like all these. We have Ethan Hawke, we have Julia Roberts, we have Mahershala Ali. Can we give him something better than this? Like,
hmm
and I knew that, and Kevin Bacon too shows up for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I thought
Um,
that he was gonna have like a huge
so did
thing, and he
I.
was in like he was just had like one spooky
Yeah.
scene to be like,
And I just
oh,
and again, even Julia Roberts' character, where they answer the door at night and they're like, she's asking all these
yeah. That
questions.
whole scene was like,
He's
oh my
like,
god.
he has the key to the liquor cabinet. I'm like, and maybe I'm just too trusting, and I know maybe she's probably a little bit racist, honestly,
Yeah,
but like, I'm just like, it's clearly their house. Like,
yeah.
just come on, like, get it through your
I
friggin'
will
head.
say it's like not only is it clearly their house, but like if this was
Yeah.
a real, if this was not a movie,
Mhm.
or I guess just if this movie that is a movie was written better, it's
Yeah.
like you have a piece of mail, you have anything, you got
Yeah.
like I don't know, like literally anything to prove who you are, like you would have something. There wouldn't he wouldn't just be like, oh sorry, in this whole house other than the fact that I have a full set of keys and know
Yeah.
everything
Or
about
this liquor cabinet.
yeah, and know everything about the private conversation you had with the person you rented this house to. Which again, I get that's the whole conceit of the movie is that she doesn't trust them. But it's like it's just so unbelievable that you wouldn't trust someone even if you were like racist like she is kind of like you said. Um but man, I will say one positive is and I told you this and Ticket to Paradise, I'm like I miss Julia Roberts like anchoring movies. Like
Mhm.
she's good in this. Like she's got great like presence of like carrying the movie. Like that's the reason that I finished it. I mean, if it had any lesser people in it, I would be like turning it off after the first 10 minutes. But
Mhm.
like and then they basically just give like Ethan Hawke like a side quest to do for like the back
Go
45 minutes of
drive
the
down the
movie.
street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go drive down the road and we'll shoot a couple of scenes. Well, like that's basically what it felt like.
And we'll just like litter all this paper down
Yeah.
the road and
Yeah.
um
Well, my
what was
buddy
I
said it was the Koreans.
gonna
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
all that
that's
stuff.
not what I heard.
Yeah.
That's like okay.
Yeah, that was all
Yeah.
ridiculous. Look up those TikToks.
I'm sure. Yeah,
I need your reaction.
absolutely. All right, the last couple things here I just want to read in chat. Molly said that Oppenheimer just watched it again yesterday. Then Michelle said, "Gotta say that my top three are number three Oppenheimer, number two Godzilla -1, number one is Barbie. This movie had
Oh,
everything and so much more.
yeah.
There you go.
Solid top three. You could
Solid
say
top three.
I just saw a Letterboxd review, and I will give credit to you said it. This is from Lara. It's under popular reviews on Letterboxd. For Poor Things, Barbie, but for mentally ill people. I agree. I
There you
concur
go.
with that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of the dialogue in that movie is very very interesting. I just remember Rami Youssef's very first line in the very beginning of the movie.
How about Willem Dafoe's like
Burping?
bubbles that he
Yeah,
belches out of his mouth?
pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
I'll tell you what. I know it was like a prop and not real, but when she started stabbing those eyes of that cadaver,
Oh yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
ugh.
yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, the creature design and stuff in that was really cool too. Maybe I'll grow on it. You know, hopefully it'll grow on me. Maybe, but yeah, that'll do it. We just gave our top tens of 2023. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you guys so much for everyone who put stuff in the chat. I'm sure next week will probably be a look forward to maybe our final guesses at Oscar nominations. Any other news that come out, since Oscar nominations are going to be out after next week's show, but before the one after that. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you're watching this on the replay what your top 10 or even just top 3 of the year or just your top 1. What was your favorite movie of 2023? Let us know that and more down below. While you're down there, be sure to like, subscribe, share the video. It helps sharing it. Share it with a friend who likes movies or who's just interested in 2023 in film. And that'll do it for me. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been another host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our social media channels, and we will see you next time.
Boom.